This last week, being consumed with the thoughts. The week before, I had a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who had a problem with the COVID-19, and he was in an ICU. And the doctors told him that he had a 30% chance of surviving. He went through this and he's okay now, but when I was able to talk to him, I asked him what did he think in these moments when he thought that maybe he will not make it. And he's the kind who's like a very deep thought type of person. He always thinks about mainly his legacy and what he's leaving on this earth, and what he will be thought of years from now when after he dies, and he's focused on what contribution he can make for life. And so I asked him if he thought about this during the time that he was in that situation. And he said surprisingly that he did not think about any of that. The only thing that came to his mind is all about his possessions, the apartments that he has in different places, the library that he had. He had a beautiful collection of old maps, and what will happen to it, who will take this. He started thinking about the things that he did not do or should have done to prepare for this moment, and who it should pass to. And I am going this week through a different thing. I finally, I always thought about myself as a person who does not have lots of attachments, or detached from things. I always thought that there's a saying that piety is not owning anything, but it's owning things but being detached from them. So piety is the ability to be detached from what you own. So it doesn't matter how much you own, as long as you are able to detach yourself from them. And I thought about myself always as having that, but I am in the process of letting go of this big house in Florida that we lived in for the past 20 years. And it's amazing the amount of stuff that you end up collecting and having in such a big house, and after all these many years. And in the process of packing things and letting things go, we decided that we should really give away almost everything except the bare necessity. And I've always been thinking about, okay, I want to minimize the number of possessions in my life, and it would be easy just to let go. And every time, I'm shown, oh, how about this box? And I look at it, and it has some memorabilia from my first business with thank you letters from AT&T at that time, which was our client, and from the nonprofit organization that we helped with that business. And I say, oh, maybe not those. And then look at some other stuff like my books. And I have this huge, big library of books that I've been collecting since I was in the 7th grade, and really nice books, lots of them in Arabic. And they have on the side of them my notes from these years, over the years. And I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, these my notes, which I haven't looked at to be honest, in 30 years or more, probably since I wrote them, or I wrote these notes next to them. And I have looked at these books once in a while just as a reference, but then I think about it and I say, oh, this is hard, maybe I should keep that. And slowly then you end up feeling that, oh my God, it's so hard to let go of whatever we have. And slowly, the things that I felt like, okay, they are so essential, could fill a small house just by themselves. And some of it is like, oh my goodness, I spent so much money on that. I searched for it, this item, this couch. It's a special edition of this kind of, I bought it from this place. It has like a story behind it. And then you say, oh, as if you're letting go of that story or that memory. And then you end up, even with that, you're going to end up with so much weight. And I'm going to end up with so much weight. So I decided at one moment, and the idea was, let's rent a storage. I'm like, oh my God, I mean, that's another headache that you're going to have and keep there and not have access to, and then find another place. You need a bigger place so you can put all these stuff in. So I decided, no, that's not what I want to do. I just don't want to keep anything, almost. Just the most essential things that I'm currently using or I know I will be using immediately. That's what I wanted to keep. And what I realized is that there's this story that is told about the Prophet Muhammad, that when he was dying, he would go into he would faint and then wake up from the fainting in his deathbed. And his wife was next to him, and before he faints, he asked his wife, he said, how much money do I have in my wealth? And she told him, you have $20. That's all he had. And he said to her, well, give it away. Find a way to give it away. And then he will faint, and when he wakes up, he said, what did you do with the money? And she would say, we're so busy with you, we didn't do anything. And he said, please give away the $20, give away the whole possession. He wanted to die with nothing to his name. And it was always thought when the story is told that about his generosity. And what dawned on me is that it was not about generosity. In his deathbed, he was not thinking about, what this $20 is going to make a difference in somebody's life, but about the weight of owning things and the weight of having attachment to things in this life, and the freedom, the beauty of the freedom that you will have when you don't have anything, actually, when you have nothing in that case. So that's what it's all about. It's about letting go and about having the freedom not to be dragged down by the weights of possessions or old memories or all the stories that formed your life. And most of it just you don't even think about anymore. You don't even spend time on. And I thought about this excellent practice that is done by Buddhist monk. It's called, I think, Mandala, where they sit for hours and sometimes days and just using beautiful colored sand, and they create these beautiful drawings. And it takes one focus, so it teaches you to focus, but also after they're done with it, they just look at it. They don't take a picture, they don't take a selfie with it. You just destroy it all over again. And just it's a reminder that it doesn't matter what you built and how beautiful, how much effort you did. At the end, nothing is permanent. And detaching yourself from that is the power of a freedom that you have to do whatever you want to do in your life or whatever you want to do in the future. Anything that you hold on from the past is a weight that prevents you from moving toward the future that you could become. So instead of being pulled by the future pull of what you could become, we're always getting ourselves dragged by the past that was, and the weight of that past that we have in our possessions or memories or thoughts. And I was sharing that with a friend of mine yesterday, and he told me, isn't that what we used to be when we were kids? And that's so true. I mean, when you're kids, you build these sand castles and then you destroy them, and then you build a Lego structure and then you let it go. And this is how we were as kids, and that's so true. We don't draw a picture and think, oh my God, this is such an art and a beauty that I've done that I gotta keep forever and save. The mothers usually do that, but the kids don't. They just done it, and it's over. They had the pleasure of doing that. They know that they can go ahead and create again. And the pleasure was the process itself, not holding on to it. So it's this idea of possession and holding on to things. It's actually, we learn it later on in our life. And we kind of become slaves of shackled in this jungle of life with all these possessions and the things that we should remember and keep. And that's what's preventing us from moving forward toward the future and toward the being that we could become instead of a product of what was before. I think one of the most important things that we can do is to learn to detach from possessions, from anything that ties us down in the past or in the present, and be able to, the freer we are, the more we are able to move forward. It's kind of like, think about a ship that is anchored down with the present or anchored to something in the past. It's almost impossible to move to a new destination. But when you don't have all of that, then it's very easy for you to pick up and move to a new place and explore new opportunities. And you don't need we don't need the big houses that we get, the storages, the heavy memories and stories that we hold on our head. We always could think, like at kids, that, oh, the stories, the most beautiful stories that we have are the ones that we are going to build, are the ones that are coming forward, not the ones that we had before. And this is how life moves forward to a better state of being. And this is how we free ourselves from the jungle of life and move toward the land of potentiality, the Garden of Eden, where we can actually receive happiness, success, and fulfillment, and live with our full potentiality, with our families, with the work that we do. I mean, imagine just the work. I mean, today, most of the work that we do is just to make money to serve the things that we had before, instead of thinking about, oh, what job can I do that can take me toward something that I want to become, not to serve the things that I already have, if it's the car, the house, or all these possessions that I need to be in service of, where we become the slaves of all these things that we have, instead of using them or using what we need, not them, but what we actually need for the future that we want for ourselves. That's what it should be. It should be, where am I heading? What do I want to do with my life in the future? In my case, I want to write, I want to teach, I want to mentor. Well, what do I need? What do I need for that? Do I need all the furniture that I have, all the stuff that I have? If I think that way, then I can go back and say, okay, well, for that, what do I need? And that's the stuff that I need to keep. And everything else, I should free myself from. Just my thought for the day. May you all grow with ease.